anyone that's not investing right now, there's literally something wrong with them, because the market is basically down like 60, 70% in crypto. Some of them are even down more. Stock market itself is down like almost 30% for like bigger things like S&P 500 and such. Then tech companies, any like growth companies, even Tesla went from $1,200 to like $800 right now. Big companies like Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Snapchat, Netflix, anything like this, all of them are cheap right now. And none of these companies are going out of business. So
It's true.
buying these at a discounted price, they will go back up in a year, year and a half, 2 years. Doesn't matter. You will make money when they go back up.
All right, bro. We're
All
live.
right.
What's
You're
up,
live.
Maddie?
Let's go. First podcast together.
Let's do this.
All
Well, it's good to
right.
see you, man. Anyone who's listening or watching, this is Maddie. And when I was living out in the Bay Area back in, was it 2021? From 2020 to 2021, I was
Yeah.
out there for like a year. And I was working at a Nordstrom out there, and I happened to meet Maddie, who is probably one of the most interesting people that I've ever met. Like the knowledge you have, bro, and just where you're at in life, I admire that a ton. And I know I didn't get to know a whole lot about you when I was out there, and just obviously what we were able to talk about while we were at work. But yeah, you have a very interesting life, and I feel like you have a lot of things to share that a lot of people have could find value in. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's stuff that you know that other people should know to kind of help them, move through life a little bit.
For
But
sure.
yeah, Maddie, tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of your story, and
All right.
yeah.
So I'm Mahdiyar Saberi. Was born in Iran. I moved to US when I was 14. The summer I moved, I turned 15. I came all by myself. Didn't have any family here. I landed in Chicago, spent a few days with one of my family friends over there to get to know everything. Then I moved to San Diego. I was there from 2016 to 2020. Then from 2020 until now, I moved to the Bay Area. So how I would start getting to know what I do. When I moved, I was mainly just in high school, and on my side, like for hobby, I started going to car shows like at Ogara or any other like exotic car events in SoCal, in LA, Newport Beach, Irvine, anywhere in that area. When I started attending those events, I got to see that more like wealthier people always talk about stocks, real estate, crypto. And around 2016, 17 was right before crypto started going off. And few people were talking about like Bitcoin, Ethereum, things like that. So I got pretty interested in talking to the owners and people at the events. And from that, I started doing my own research, got into cryptocurrency, got into stocks, but I couldn't trade because I was under 16. Then I waited a little bit until I passed 16. I was like paper trading, practicing. Then past that, after I was 16, with the help of my father, set up an account, started trading, and when I turned 18, it just took off from there. I tried a little bit of everything in trading and crypto. Yeah, that's
Got
basically it.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for introducing everyone to yourself. You said you came here at the age of around 15, 16,
14.
right? 14.
14, yeah.
And then you said from Saudi Arabia?
In Iran. I'm
Iran, I'm
Persian.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All good, bro.
Iran. So you came from Iran at the age of, 14, pretty much middle of teenage years.
Yeah.
And you spent the last, what, how old are you now? You're about to be 21?
I'm about to turn 21, yeah.
So it's not even been 10 years since you've been here in the U.S. Let's talk
No.
about that a little bit. How was it super difficult for you to like adapt to American culture, and was it everything that you thought it was when you first came over?
Okay, so I would explain it like this. So in Iran, my father is a neurosurgeon, my mom is a dentist, my family was like pretty busy. So from when I was two, my parents divorced, and then I lived with my grandparents since I was two until I was 14 when I moved. So a lot of my like things I learned were more like old school culture because my grandparents taught me, and I would meet my mom like for the weekends. I would go to her house like two times a week, something like that. And my father, he would not even like see him maybe like once every week, once every 2 weeks, something like that. Because if he would come over, they would call him from the hospital. He had to leave like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m., like didn't even have a normal schedule. So I learned most of the things like old school from my grandparents. Then my grandfather was in the banking system. So Um, he taught me a lot about like economies and culture and stuff. He used to work for Paris. There was a bank in Paris, Credit Suisse and Credit Union and stuff like that. But that bank doesn't exist anymore. So I learned a lot from him. Then everyone would tell me like, "Oh, US is amazing. Like everything there is like so much better than Iran and everything like that." In Iran, I mean, when I was like very young, under 10, like my family wasn't like that incredibly wealthy, but like we were like good middle class. Um, so I'm thankful for that. But then I was super thankful that like my father could move me to like a different country and support me when I was younger. And so when I moved in Iran, I did study English a little bit to like know how to talk and everything normal. But then one thing over there is like the teachers always teach you from like dictionaries, super complicated things that literally nobody uses in daily talking. So when I moved, I was like speaking like a book or something.
Yeah.
Uh, so in high school, so I moved when I was in my eighth grade, going to ninth grade. Then it was a whole mess. First 3 4 months, I moved during summer, and then school started. Like I was pretty small too back then. Now I'm 6'6", but back then I was probably like 130, 140 pounds, 6 foot. There was a lot of bullies, I would say, but not really bullies. Most of them would just make fun and like wouldn't be like nice. I mean, I didn't
Hmm.
care at all. But yeah, that was a thing. Learning how to normally like talk to people, hang out with people, find friends, things like that. And then the country itself, the culture, I mean, everyone is pretty nice. And the only difference was like people weren't like as like, so in Iran, I mean, you walk down the street, you say hi to a neighbor or someone you see, they will say hi back, or like older people will talk to you, things like that. Then I moved here, like literally, if you don't walk up to someone, say something, they won't talk to you. Even if you try to talk to someone, they won't talk to you. So that was it. That was something different. One more different thing was just like maturity level of kids. Um, in high school, like everyone was basically crazy. They would do the dumbest things during like before school, after school, during school. Like I have, I had no idea what like vaping, smoking, nothing of that was, and everyone would do it like in the bathrooms behind the class, and I would be like going to my other friends or like my teacher, like, what is this? Like,
Mm.
ask him about like random new things I saw. Um, Basically, that was like the whole cultural shift of that. Then, Iran is Islamic country, so they're Muslim, but then I'm not that religious, so um, that then I moved. That was a little different too over here. There's so many different religions.
Mm.
Iran is probably like 90-95% Muslim. Over here, I got to meet like a lot of people. Some people are Christian, Mormon, atheist, I don't know, like spiritual, everything. So
Mm-hmm.
that was different too in high school. Yeah.
Interesting. It's I found it interesting that how over there everyone is all like it seems like everyone in Iran is very friendly with each other, and then over here everyone's kind of like you said, like you can't like no one's gonna talk to you unless you talk to them first, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
found that super interesting. Um, did you think people were like mean to you or like when you first came in,
I
like
mean, normal day to day people, like people you meet on the streets, at the mall, shop, something like that, no. But kids around my age, around like in high school, things like that, those weren't like that nice. But then, you make your own like friend group and talk to them. Yeah.
yeah,
I tried my best to not hang out with like those crazy kids.
yeah, the dum dums. But I know that your situation is definitely unique on its own. But a lot of people from foreign countries, they, you know, a lot of them come to America hoping to, you know, build. I don't know. Maybe I don't know too much about it. But what was the whole reason why you came over? Like, why did your dad send you over here?
All right, so my dad sent me over because he was like, there's way more potential here, and he's right about that, totally. And he was like, you will get better education, there's better schools, better universities. So like more, just the main reason was like a brighter future,
Mm-hmm.
better,
Gotcha.
yeah, better time spent. So if I was in Iran, we have good schools and everything. I could have become like doctor or whatever I wanted to over there. I mean, just until like I don't think I've told you, but right when we were working, I was still going towards a medical school to become a neurosurgeon like my father. But then about like a year ago, more than a year ago, I switched it to computer science and doing like network engineering and things like that. So that was a different thing too. Yeah,
Gotcha. And I feel like over here you probably have more choices too, right?
way more. Yeah, way more.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. What's your advice to people, kids like who was like you, a few years ago? What's your advice to them coming from, a country outside of the United States and coming to the United States? What's your advice for them to, I guess, make it easier, make the transition easier?
Mhm. I would say like complicated tasks that they would have break them down to smaller steps and make like a schedule or something to like reach each step by a certain time to like push themselves to doing it. And I would say just be themselves and don't really try to act like people that are over
Mm,
like here. Like when I moved, I was so different from like everyone in my high school and stuff, but I didn't change to being like them. And that was one thing that like set me apart. So I would say don't change who you are just because you moved to a different country somewhere. I mean, you could learn and improve yourself, but I wouldn't say like you could fully like change who you are. Like,
I love that.
yeah,
Was that hard for you to not be persuaded to be somebody else other than yourself?
it was difficult because, there wasn't that many other kids that would be like not going out to like hang out, like sleepovers, parties, things like that, or like skipping school, doing crazy stuff like that, or like they wouldn't care about like studying or like any important thing. So there were probably like 5% in my high school that would like really care about their grades. Their families were pretty good. They were respectful. They weren't rude. So I just basically in every class I had, I would become friends with like the more like smarter, nicer kids, and that's how like I only had probably like 20 friends in high school, but then I knew like everyone. Everyone knew me too. But that was like after my first year. My first year didn't really talk to anyone. I had probably like two, three friends, yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I really admire that about you, man. Like, I know for me, when I was in high school, I definitely struggled with, identity issues, trying to figure out who I was. And I think now I'm starting to come into my own, but I commend you for that because I know high school is definitely a time where it's tough on a kid, if you feel
Totally.
like you don't have any friends, then you try to be like other people, and then that just it kind of gets messy, and then you might make the wrong decision with the wrong people, and obviously you didn't because you're doing really really well for yourself, and so I really admire that, man. So kudos to you, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, so you're totally right. I mean, I was having that problem too, but like it just didn't go that path of trying to be someone I wasn't. And that's like one thing I really stick to. Yeah.
Yeah,
But other than that, then in 2019, I graduated high school and went to college. Then was going to go to UCSD, but then I moved here and just the whole thing changed. So the
yeah. Are
pandemic
you?
really messed up a lot of things. So
Yeah, tell me about it.
yeah,
Are you still over? You're still in Walnut Creek, Brentwood area?
I mean Pleasant Hill. Yeah,
Okay, so it's kind of the same area.
yeah,
Um,
same area.
and you live on your own, right?
Yeah, yeah. I've been living
So
on my own for over 7 years now.
that's dope. I think that's dope. I mean, because like to do what you're doing right now, and to be living on your own, that's like a lot of people's, kind of like their dream. Just to kind of be at your age, living on your own. And obviously that lets people know that you are um, financially stable enough to do that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I want to kind of switch gears into that and like let's talk about how did you get to a place where you can do that. You know what I mean?
All right.
Um, Obviously, when you got sent over, I'm sure, and I could be wrong. Your dad was helping you out.
Yeah, my
Did he?
father was definitely supporting me until like, I mean, he still is, but like he mainly was before I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's still like out of nowhere. He's like, hey, it's your birthday. Here's this, or like, hey, it's this. Like, so he still supports me every like few months or something he would like. I mean, every parent should support their kids and provide for them, but then
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like that, so I don't ask him for anything, or I just let him do what he wants. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
How
So
did how did you get to that place though? Like, let's talk about how did you get to a place where you were able to kind of learn how to become financially independent?
okay. So as I said, my grandfather was in the banking system. Um, I just imagine, I remember probably it was like three, four or something. I remember a pink envelope he had. Every gift I would get that would be like cash or something, he would save it in that. And I just remember it because it like I remember for over 10 years, probably like 13 years, that pink envelope. Um, so birthday, New Year, anything like every year I would like graduate. If my grades were good, they would give me gifts, things like that, and I would just like save that up. And he taught me to like only buy something I really need, like not I just want something, I wouldn't get it, but like I really wanted something, and I would like talk to my parents. I would see like if it did make sense to buy that, then I would like spend my money on it. But like he would save it to that envelope, and every once in a while, if I didn't use it, he would add to it from like his own money. So I learned how like basic things work when I was like under 10. And from then I saw my father going into like real estate and talking about like his own share of his hospital, things like that. So I just got to understand how like money works. Then I moved here. I knew I had to save because the currency difference is crazy too. So back when I moved, like each dollar would be 4 or 5 thousand of Iranian like money, but now it's about like 32,000. So
Mm.
yeah, it's like a crazy difference. So like let's say I don't know, like a haircut here is like 40, $50. Over there is like 1.6 million of their money if you convert it.
Dang.
Yeah, but I mean that's nothing. Like they
Oh,
buy
okay.
like if you want to buy like houses or something, it's like in the billions. Like it's a different currency. So yeah, but basically exchanging that would be maybe like everything here would be 3 to 6 times more expensive. Like over there is like 3 to 6 times less expensive than here, but then like you change the currencies. So that was pretty big too. When I moved, I was like, I have to save it and I have to like learn something or do something. Main thing was like my father didn't even want me to work until like I was like maybe like 16, 17. Um, so all I did was just go to school, come home, study, go to car shows, business events, things like that. And that's exactly how it started. I moved, I met two people in school. Then I just was in San Diego in the La Jolla area. I saw a dealership, and in Iran, I mean, there is nice cars, but you won't see like Bugattis and Koenigseggs and like super high end like hypercars that are like multi-million dollars. So I just was walking and I saw a Bugatti Veyron in the uh, showroom of the dealership, and I was just like, "Oh, that's nice." So I went in, looked at it, and I was like, "There's more cars in the back." So there was Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Porsches, things like that. Then I asked them how, like, anything like social media or like if they have any events, anything. So then I started going to car shows, high end and normal like car meets, anything like that. I just got to know more people. Then, as I said, from that, I got to talk to people that were like older than me. Like majority of my friends were like in their 30s, 40s, even some in their 70s from these events that I would talk to. And most of them got me interested in getting to learn stocks, cryptocurrencies, do my own research from YouTube, read books, anything I could. I would ask them, go do my own research. YouTube helped a lot, man. I just anything you want to learn is on YouTube. Like anything is available on the internet. You want to build a rocket, YouTube. You want to learn how to code, YouTube. You want to learn how to trade stocks, YouTube. Uh, so yeah, that's how I got into uh, trading. I started with paper trading. After I got comfortable with that, I was like, hey, it's easy to like buy and maybe like at the start, I was only doing it long term. Like I would buy and just keep buying and buying and buying. When it would hit a certain like spot, I would like sell some to like just spend it. But then as I got more comfortable with that after like 2 years of trading, I started day trading with a few $100s. And after that, I would say 2019 is when I got into like doing options and contracts and stuff like that. And that's when like it started really taking off and making a lot more money from that. But other than that, that was just for the stocks and cryptocurrency. As I said, in when I was 16, it was like 2015. Then I turned like 17, 2015, 2016, sorry. Um, that's when Bitcoin was like the main topic out of like cryptocurrencies and stuff. So I started learning about that. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. It's like some virtual money that doesn't exist. What is this thing? Then I talked to my father and my grandfather. They were like, don't touch it. It's like It's not like it was like $36 or something when I first saw it. Let
Mm-hmm.
me see. Um,
You're talking about what crypto was back then, like how much it was to buy what?
yeah, yeah, Bitcoin back then. I'm just going through my transactions to see when the first Bitcoin I bought was. Um, November 12, 2016, Bitcoin was $790.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, right now it's the market is really bad, but it's 20,500, and at the all-time high was 69,000. So
Mm.
from 700 to, I mean, I knew about some people would say they got it into it in like 2010, 11. They got it for like under $50, but then that's when I got into it around like seven, $800. Yeah,
Let's talk about investing because I know
investing, sure,
investing is one of those things that you can build wealth with, but I feel like there's a lot
totally.
of nuance and different things that go into investing that not a lot of people know about. What should people know about? What should people know before they start to invest? And again, do your own research. But just, from your perspective and your experience.
There's so much to talk about. It's like super complicated if you go deep into it, but don't follow trends. Like, you know how there was a whole thing with like AMC stocks and GameStop. You remember, like, when you were
Mm-hmm.
at work, everyone was talking about it. Doing things like that is extremely risky. You could lose everything. And don't invest the money you are not comfortable losing, because that's something people have to get comfortable with. When people put their whole life savings or like in 50% of their income, something like that, that they need, and they lose it, it just sends them down the wrong path, and like mentally everything just mess them up. I would say start with bigger funds, like I would say S&P 500, Dow Jones, things like that, and Nasdaq. You could buy ETFs like TQQ, QQQ. So I would say whatever amount of money you're comfortable with investing, and investing over time beats like doing it like basically time in the market beats timing the market. So the more time you spend investing over a certain period of time, there's more money you could make, other than just doing, oh, it's down right now, I'm gonna buy now and just wait for it to go back up to sell it. Like you keep buying every week, every month, something like that. It will compound, and it will be like 200, 300% in like 4 or 5 years. If you really get into it, you could do options or day trading, like swing trading. You could make, I don't know, like 20, 30% a day.
In day trading.
Yeah, if not going too risky. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if you do go risky with some option contracts, they move like 400 to like 1,000% even more in a day. So you could put in like, Facebook went down a few months ago. Uh, had a short position on it, and I bought it for like around $150, and it went up to like 7,000. So
Mm.
each of the contracts. So that's really risky things to do, because like you didn't know how their earning would be. Like companies have earnings every quarter, and the most important ones are mostly like start of the year or end of the year. And you know how the economy is doing right now, gas prices, shortage of like supply chain, everything. So the war, it just went on top of each other. So it was like pandemic problems and war problems and
Mm.
economy problems. So right now, if we get one more negative GDP return, it's going to be a recession. So for it to be a recession, you need two negatives back to back. And it was like negative 2.6% like a few months ago, and the new one is coming out sometime soon, and everyone's saying it's going to be negative. So
So I don't under. I'm not too versed in like economy and whatnot, and so like the
Yeah.
the terminology for me is
No, no,
it's,
yeah, sure.
it's a different
I
language.
could I could
Uh,
explain it. Yeah.
please, yeah. So what's a negative point? Like what was the first one?
Well, you know, let's say how this. So you remember gas was like $2 to $3, right? Like two
Mm-hmm.
years, 3 years ago. Um, and it's been going up because um, there's a shortage. They won't like a lot of oil and gas comes from Europe, Middle East, and then war happens. They shut down the gas. Even Russia, we were getting like natural gas and normal gas from Russia, oil, and like shortage problems like that. A lot of our oil that we would get from Middle East or any area would be is going to China now, or the countries are not even exporting it because there's problems. I mean, Europe is short on gas and oil right now, and US used to have about over 200 refineries for gas and like production of oil. Now it's down to like 120. So the shortage of closing the plants puts more pressure on the ones that are in like working, and not all of those are functional. So let's say five of them are in maintenance or something.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of pressure on producing gas and anything here. There's shortage of oil coming into the country. There is war going on. Europe is not getting oil, so Canada and US are sending a lot of oil and resources to Europe. So that's what's like economic problem, like a shortage for gas.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going up so much. Uh, that's basically how I would say. And like GDPs, gross domestic, like all the money in like all the economy for the US. That's what's been going down. It, I don't have the numbers on top of my head, but
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
let's search up 2022 USA GDP. Um, I could share my screen too if you want to go over it that way, but
Yeah, let's try that.
send this to my computer. There's a lot of people you could watch on YouTube and like
Mm-hmm.
social media to learn about investing, like Graham Stephan, um, is really good guy that I learned a lot from.
Yeah,
Um,
I like his content. He's very professional, and then like the way he goes about his content. I didn't know this. He's part of that group that's on Selling Sunset, right? He's part
Real
of that
estate,
group.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't know
That's how
that.
he started. That's how he started. He
Doing
was a
real
real
estate.
estate agent in like 2014, 15, and um,
Yeah, he seems like a cool guy. He just seems like overall
yeah, he's
cool.
super cool, super cool. Actually met him a few times in
You
SoCal.
did?
Yeah. Sharing my screen now.
Oh, nice background.
Does it show you?
It does,
All
yeah.
right. Can you see what I searched up or not?
No, I think it's just on a different display right now. Like it's like it's using, I guess, Skype maybe as a different monitor. I just see your background. You might have to drag it into the screen.
Should be in the screen. I see it on my screen. If I go full screen, would you see it?
No.
Technical difficulties, man. Come on.
try
Here.
try
Here, how
dragging
about
it
this?
to the right. Yeah.
Wait, 1 second. Let me just take a screenshot of this and we'll put that here. Do you see this now?
No.
Okay, let's just give up.
It's okay. Yeah. But
I don't know
so
why it's not showing my like what I see on my screen, because that's how it is on Zoom. When you share it, you see everything that every window and everything that they have. And I'm not very familiar with Skype.
Yeah, I'm still learning it
So
too, honestly. It looked like it was just using it as a different screen though. Like you maybe had to
it was
drag
just
it.
showing my background for some reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
On my screen, Skype was on the left side. Two windows that I searched up for GDP was on my right side that I was trying
Mm.
to show. But basically, gross domestic products is GDP, and it decreased at an annual rate of 1.6% first quarter of 2022.
Mm.
That's I'm just reading off my phone. So people are saying it's going to go down another 2.9% since like 2021,
So
and
what does
is
that look
this
like for everybody?
well when less money goes into the economy, there is less money in the system, then things get more expensive. People won't have enough funds to afford certain things. There's going to be like layoffs, um, people losing their jobs, things like that. If it gets worse than this, I mean, we're not in a full recession yet or anything like that, because it's not been negative for 2 months back to back, like each quarter actually.
The last one was in 2008, right?
Yeah, but that one was that one is similar but different, because there would be in 2007, 2008, there would be lending money for no reason to anyone that would ask
Mm.
without any evidence of them like paying them back. So anyone
Mm.
would go to a bank and ask like, "Hey, I want this much money to buy real estate or do this." They would be like, "Okay," they would give them that money. But now you go into several checks of like, "Hey, you have sustainable income. This is how much you earn annually. You can afford this loan that we would give to you." So that's what happened. Everyone got a lot of money, went buy real estate, risk that went up crazy. It was going up crazy since like early 2000. Then people wanted their money back when the like real estate market started crashing, and the banks didn't have money. That's what happened. Uh, the like shortest form to explain it.
Gotcha.
I
I did,
I was 7, so I don't really know much, but from
oh
what
yeah,
I heard and what I read, so
you
I
weren't here
wasn't even
then.
here.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
But
And I know you kind of see it now with gas going up, and I'm still at
I mean,
Starbucks, and then
everything is going
yeah,
up.
everything's going up.
Everything is going up. Like bread, meat, anything in the grocery store. You go look, the prices from a year ago, 2 years ago is probably up like 40, 50%. Some
There
people don't
was
realize it. There's like shrinkflation too. The sizes of the boxes go down.
yeah.
Like let's say this was like 8.5 ounces. Now it's 8 ounces.
Mhm.
Same price, same thing. People don't realize that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. It's wild how that we're paying more and we're still getting less.
We pay more, we get less. There's shortage of some things like right now, baby formula, things like that. I like feel super bad for parents with
Hmm.
kids. They need that, but then
Right.
there's shortage. So
I remember you saying, I think it was you, I think, when we were working at Nordstrom together, I think I remember you saying that in the in the future it's going to become normal to be a millionaire. Did you say
oh
that?
yeah, I mean yeah, right now this year and the like since early November, December, a lot of people lost like 40, 30% of their net worth, even like billionaires, millionaires. But since COVID until now, there's like 1,300 new millionaires and like few hundred billionaires added like in US.
Mm.
Um, I mean, millions is probably not going to be anything in like 10 years, 15 years, something like that.
Really?
Yeah. You know how like houses used to be like 60,000 to like 150,000 like 30 years ago, something like that, 50 years ago, maybe
Mm.
cheaper. But right now, try to find a house cheaper than 500,000 in
Yeah.
like big cities. You can't even find anything for 500,000. At least like 700 to like a million.
Hmm.
So people's incomes is not going up, and there is inflation, possible recession. Uh, so yeah,
How do
it's
what do you think people can start doing? I think for me, I'll speak for myself. Like one thing I'm trying to do is get my real estate, going off the ground. Becoming an agent, and then kind of use that as a way to build a foundation that I can build off of. You know what I mean? And then from there, start using some of that income that I get from there and start investing to different things. Obviously got the podcast going, and through that, I hope to gain some type of affiliate marketing from different companies.
sponsors, brands. Yeah,
Right, and so those are some of the
yeah,
ways that I am going about trying to prepare for whatever's going to be coming up. Um,
yeah.
but I see it at work too at Starbucks. A lot of I mean, you could probably go anywhere that's retail or food service. They're not only experiencing a shortage in product, but they're also experiencing shortage in labor. There's a lot of people
Yep.
that a lot of people that don't want to work for these companies anymore. You know what I mean? Um,
Ooh.
I know I sure don't. What do you think it's gonna become like? What do you think is gonna be happening? Because I can see people like leaving those types of jobs to start becoming their own boss. Whether it's you know um, whether it's like starting their own online business or going to something like real estate or kind of like yourself going that investing route.
Yeah.
Um, what trend do you see that's going to be coming for people that don't want to be working those types of jobs, or do you see one?
Well, being honest, like those jobs need to be there. Like that will never happen of people like everyone leaving those sort of like jobs. There's always going to be lower class, middle class, higher class, and that 1%. Um, I would say people that are leaving these jobs, maybe they're not getting paid enough to live their life. They want, like, they're looking for a better opportunity to make more money. They will try doing business. I mean, I would not even say 5% of businesses like are successful. Like 95% of people will like give up or fail or some way like that. One thing I really did, like I do respect you. You are working at Nordstrom, you are working at Starbucks, you are saving a lot from what I remember, right? That's not something so like a lot of people will do. Working two jobs, saving, you're going to school and trying to get your real estate license to become an agent. Not that many people put that much effort in their life to like become more successful and gain more experience and knowledge, but you are super open to it and you've been working hard as you can to achieve these things. I would say a lot of people will experience like a shift in wealth, basically from older generations coming into like younger people. A lot of millennials and Gen Zs, majority of their money is in cryptos. They're coming out of stocks, they're going into crypto, they're going into Web3, metaverse, NFTs, things like that. And I would say you make a solid, diversified portfolio of 50% stocks, 20%, 25% crypto, 10% NFTs, and I don't know, like 5% cash or like anywhere anything that's left from that. That's like something you get the most out of. You are in every single category and you will benefit the most out of all of them. And the more sources of income you have, the more cash flow you will have. And if you save that, you could reinvest it and keep growing it. That's one thing people have to start doing,
So
even if,
basically, people, it's probably a good habit to start is taking whatever you have, of your savings, like what after you get done paying your bills and stuff, take some of that extra money and start, investing, whether it's like in the S&P or crypto. Just start getting into the habit of
Yeah,
putting
anything.
money into
Just
those
over
things.
time, invest your money and it will keep growing. Yeah. Even like anyone that's not investing right now, there's literally something wrong with them because the market is basically down like 60, 70% in crypto. Some of them are even down more. Stock market itself is down like almost 30% for like bigger things like S&P 500 and such. Then tech companies, any like growth companies, even Tesla went from $1,200 to like $800 right now. Big companies like Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Snapchat, Netflix, anything like this, all of them are cheap right now. And none of these companies are going out of business. So
It's true.
buying buying these at a discounted price, they will go back up in a year, year and a half, 2 years. Doesn't matter. You will make money when they go back up. And even if it keeps going down, probably more than where it is now, because I think it will, since we probably will have a recession or some problems that will like go. I mean, for the first time, you see real estate going down after it going up crazy. Real estate, when that starts going down, like economy is like struggling something. People can't afford buying houses. A lot of them are renting. Renting is going up. Um, just it's a whole mess right now. But the one thing you could do to help yourself is get to investing whatever you're comfortable with, 1% of your income, 2% of your income, 20%, 50%. If you're fortunate to be able to do a higher percent, you should definitely do that. But let's say you make 3, 4 thousand a month. That's like pretty usual for anyone in like Bay Area. Anything less than that, honestly, you can't live. Um, don't spend your money on things that don't matter. Designer, clothing, shoes, bags, anything. Like every single millionaire, billionaire I've seen, they just wear shorts, sandals, shoes with a t-shirt. Do you ever see? There, I'm asking you. Um, have you ever met like anyone extremely wealthy, head to toe designer with like big chains and designer shoes, bags, things like that?
I feel like out there, when I was living out there, it was probably a little more. There was probably a lot more wealthy people walking around, and you didn't know about it because they dressed normally.
Yeah.
Especially when we were working at Nordstrom. Um, Nordstrom is
That's a
definitely.
that's a good example, man. Like you remember the people that would buy designer and
Mm,
would like return it or do
mm,
something sketchy than the actual people that will come buy like more expensive things.
mm.
So just from that, you understand what I'm trying to explain.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It definitely was. No, because I understand that. Like a lot of wealthier people, they are not out there trying to flex on anybody. You know what I mean?
They don't
And
need to.
yeah, they don't need to. Because if you got it, you got it. You know what I mean? You don't really have to show anyone that you got it if you got it already. You know what I mean? And that I like that because it's I think it's one, it's very noble, and two, it shows you can be wealthy without all that flashy stuff. It's
Yeah.
nice to have it, you know what I mean? It's nice to have it if you can splash it like that. But if it's costing you your livelihood, or if it's costing you, food, you definitely
Yeah.
don't. You can't eat designer. You know what I mean? And so,
I mean, some of the people we would see at work, like they would get out of a Honda head to toe, like Louis Vuitton and Gucci, and I'm like, that's not how it works, man.
yeah.
You need a nice house, you need a sustainable job, anything, tech, law, I don't know, like doctor,
Hmm.
or like have a business, something. Then you start doing whatever you want with your money.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah. You got to get to a more a place where you can be very comfortable, and then you can start doing what you want with your money.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Um,
basically that. Yeah.
you were, yeah, I know when we were texting each other through Instagram about setting up for this podcast, you talked about, and maybe we talked about it already, kind of through,
We
you
could
know,
go in more in depth. Anything you like, just go ahead and ask.
yeah, no, I feel like you were kind of going on that route already, just to kind of recap though, like for this, you know, recession that may be coming, you know, people just really need to just be wise. That's what I'm hearing from you,
Yeah,
right? Just be wise with your money and how you spend it, and just make sure that you know you're putting enough away so that you can be ready when the economy picks back up, right?
yeah.
Because it will pick
I would.
back up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%. There's no way. Like, you look at every single recession or any problem we had. 2000, like during COVID, in like few weeks, market went down a lot, and people's savings went high because they were scared. Then a lot of people weren't investing because it was so low, and like they were scared. But then the people that did, just in a span of a year, a lot of these companies are up like 100, 200, 300%. And I would say don't be afraid to invest because it will recover, as I said. Um, just invest whatever you're comfortable with. Don't spend your money on things that you don't need. Um, just I would normally say you need at least 6 to 8 months of your like expenses saved. A lot of people can't do that, but if you can even do for like 2 3 months, that's amazing.
Hmm.
Because if things go south and like something happens, someone loses their job, they can't afford something, anything, you have money to live for like 2 3 months, 4 months until something happens. You might find a new job after a month or 2 months, something like that. But during these times, I would say lower your expenses as much as you can, start saving more, and get ready maybe to have like 10 12 months saved up. Yeah. You usually start saving up when everything is good. When everything goes bad, that's when you use that fund. Like, you know, last year, 2021 was great. Like, not that great, but like in economy, it was great.
Hmm.
Everything was going up. People made a lot of money. A lot of money got pumped into the economy. That's why we have inflation right now. Like,
Hmm.
over 20% of money printed was just in the past like 2.5 3 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, it seems very simple enough though. Just in this time period, make sure you're being very wise and make sure you're having that emergency fund of 3 to 6 months, maybe even a year, 12 months saved up, so you're ready for whatever. I think that's something that it's a good starting block, right? To kind of get there first, and then kind of move on to putting your money into investments, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk
Just
about
be just be smart with your money.